Hello, I'm Trishy, and basically I'm going to be documenting my journey on making this raw edge crazy quilt, which I learned from the University of YouTube, from Darlene's YouTube channel. I watched many videos and decided that a crazy quilt was definitely the way to go. I tried to do a patchwork quilt and I really was not enjoying it. I was doing it under a deadline. And I was also trying to get perfect intersections, and it just, I was so frustrated. I'm a crafter completely. So I knit, crochet, machine knit, felt, needle felt, weave, I spin yarn, I dye yarn. So I really do all the crafts. And when, for instance, when you're knitting a sweater, if you make one stitch that's a mistake, it is blaringly obvious to the knitter. But as a body of work, people see a whole sweater. They don't concentrate on your one stitch that's out of place. So making a quilt that all of your intersections meet perfectly wasn't going to be for me. And I didn't want to follow a pattern, so crazy quilting was the way to go. On top of that, finding Darlene, who showed, because crazy quilting is normally done on muslin or, you know, some foundation fabric. And Darlene showed doing crazy quilt or crumb quilt, or no, she did call it crazy quilt. She did crazy quilt on fusible. So I found some featherweight one-sided fusible, and this stuff is so thin you can see through it. So it's got the glue on the one side, and basically I'm able to sit down and cut up some fabric and lay them all out and fit everything together like a puzzle. And I just love it. There's no intersections, and I'm not having to worry about seams or anything else. I'm actually able to make a bunch of blocks without even touching the sewing machine. For instance, I'll make all my little cuts of fabric, and then I make sure it is covered on the block, and I iron it down, and it holds it there until I'm ready to stitch. So, you know, here's a bunch of different blocks that I've made that haven't had, they haven't been sewn down to my foundation yet. They will be. For instance, here is some that are sewed down. So with the raw edge, and I make my block on the fusible, and then I will go back on the sewing machine and I will zigzag stitch over, which I'm doing in black. Again, I really like the way it looks. And I'm able to just make a bunch of different blocks. I think this is the beginnings of courthouse steps or block or something. But I am just really enjoying this. And I can't thank Darlene enough, because this was the easiest, most accessible thing for myself, being a very beginner. I just got my sewing machine for Christmas, so if that tells you how beginner I am, we're not even a month into this. As far as fabrics go, for this quilt, I have 2 fat quarter bundles of Tim Holtz Eclectic Elements fabrics. So, you know, just, I love these fabrics. And then I've got some solid cottons in navy, black, blue gray, and some purple. And then in addition to the patterned and solid cottons, I've got some silks, which I went to a Goodwill near me, and I got a couple silk tops. I got one top that is beige. I got one top that is this red, and these are 100% silk. And then I got one top that was, it's 100% Tussa silk, and it's just got this really cool texture. And because I dye yarn, I'm able to dye the silk. And so I've completely deconstructed the shirts, and I'm able to dye the silk. So once the shirt's deconstructed, I'm able to dye the silk into all these different colors. For instance, here's the red. I've dyed that nice and dark. The beige has become all manner of different colors. I mean, the beige has become gray and purple and navy and green and maroon and deeper maroon. So I've gotten all kinds of different colored silk from this one beige top. I even went as far as to do some resist dyeing, where the beige, you can tell this is the cuff of the sleeve. I dyed it pink, and then I accordion folded it, and I tied it with some string, and then I dunked it in some black, and then I've gotten pieces like this. So all of these different silks have gone with the cottons, and you can see here's that textured silk that starts out as the green, has become charcoal and a darker green and teal, and I've got navy, I've got burgundy. So I'm really enjoying dyeing the silks. I mean, those have all come from basically 2 shirts, or 2 silk blouses from Goodwill for a couple bucks. Then with the silk, I have also gotten 2 velvet tops from Goodwill. So I got a gray top and I got a black one. And these have also been, they just add such a crazy quilt touch, you know? When you have silks and velvets in your crazy quilt, at least I love the way that looks. And I've been able to really get a nice mix to go along. I think, I mean, I'm for a first time, I'm relatively happy with how this is coming out. And I just wanted to share my journey. I did do a test block with some scrap cotton, and this fusible is so nice and thin. Everything that I've sewed down, it doesn't fray, doesn't do anything else. And what's interesting is once it's washed, the fusible completely detaches. Like the glue just goes away with washing. So it ends up being just its own fabric, as if it was never a fusible in the first place, which I really kind of like. I didn't want this to be stiff, and it's worked out really well, so I got lucky there. But I did test it before I got too far in. And basically, I've been able to make a bunch of blocks, and this is very much in part thanks to Darlene's YouTube channel, because she shows this method of using a fusible and zigzag stitching, and so I'm having really good luck with it. And I thought I would document my journey, and since I wanted to do some time-lapse videos, but I didn't want to upload time-lapse videos and have people wondering, you know, what is this? What is going on? This is what is going on. This is a raw edge crazy quilt on fusible that gets zigzag stitched. And the fabrics are cotton, silk, hand-dyed silk. I think that's a nice little touch there. Reclaimed hand-dyed silk and velvet. And then the cottons, both patterned and solid. So, hopefully I can bring you on my little journey here, and you can follow my progress. So if I have any issues, I can document those. And if I have any wins, I can document those. Like I said, this, you know, finding this method was so helpful for a beginner, because this fusible and being able to cut and not have to worry about seams until after the fact, and it's just zigzag stitches over, it just, this was definitely the method for me, and I'm loving every second of it. Well, maybe not every second, but I'm enjoying it far more than trying to meet intersections as a beginner. And so that's what's going on. And hopefully you'll come on this journey with me. And again, I can't recommend Darlene's YouTube channel. She has hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So if you watch quilting videos, you'll find hers far faster than you'd find mine. You've got to watch her. She's great. And so that's what this is about. And come on the journey with me or not. But enjoy.